very much, Chair, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. And can I start by thanking my friend and fellow MP in Devon, the member for Tiverton and Honiton, for securing this debate. I feel somewhat outnumbered as the only member for the International Trade Committee against all members of the EFRA Committee. But it is right to be having this debate because, if I may start off with a point of enormous agreement, it is right that if the government commissions a report, that it responds to it. It is right that if people have given time to come up with suggestions, they are able to then have a response from the government. And I think they do need to listen very carefully to the context of this debate and to the comments that have been made by previous members and make sure that a response is given in good time and good order before the Australia Free Trade Agreement is produced in full detail, because I think it is very, very necessary. If I may, Chair, I'd like to start off with just a small point of rebuttal which the member for Swansea West made, saying that trade deals override our domestic legislation. That is not the case, because our SPS standards are enshrined in domestic law, and whatever we sign does not allow those trade deals to overrule our domestic legislation. The second point I want to make is about the unique nature of each trade deal that we sign around the world. Just as Japan is different to the Australia trade agreement we have signed, it is not likely or fair to say that the New Zealand or Canadian or potentially Brazilian trade deal will be exactly the same. There is the interest in the fact that our negotiators stand up for our rights, our interests, and will be put on a footing to make sure that we can secure the best possible trade deal for our country. Now, one of the things I think that we've got to be considerate about the recommendations, the 22 points of recommendations, and I will join my friend from Brecon and Radnorshire in suggesting that if there was any person suitable to be the Agri-Food Minister, it would be the member for Tiverton and Honiton, and I would willingly put myself forward as his PPS. I can see us doing a round-the-world tour to make this work. But there is a serious point to this, because the Minister, who I know can't be in the room today but is here virtually, has done a superb job in speaking to farmers in Devon, my farmers in particular in Totnes and South Devon, about the importance of food and agriculture exports and taking on that role. So if it won't be the Minister for Tiverton and Honiton, it is being ably performed by the Minister himself. The second point I wanted to make around the recommendations are on point 17, which talk about promoting agricultural exports. There does seem to be a little bit of confusion, and if I may put my hat on from the International Trade Committee, about what is already being done in British embassies around the world to promote British exports and products, and to make sure that under the Great campaign they are being promoted. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel that we can go far further on this, but we should be very clear that there is already concerted, continual action to make sure that that is happening. And I would just like to make the point that on this, that we may have tariff rate quotas, which are being phased out over 15 years in the proposed Australia agreement, and that is to give a sense of reassurance and comfort to the direction of travel. There are the SPS checks, but there are also the commitment that the government has made to look at labelling. And I know that both the member for Tiverton and Honiton and the chair of the International Trade Committee are already in discussions about what that labelling system looks like. And I think it is for this House to try and find something that is able to reassure members. Because after all, the point of this debate, I think, is about reassuring our farmers, to make sure that they are protected in the years to come, just as the member for Orkney and Shetland said. His constituency and mine is very similar in terms of its economic output. We need to reassure our farmers. We need to make sure that they look at the trade deals and see the value of the export potential that they have. And I do believe that that is there. So I hope the government will listen to the comments that have been made about setting this, the Trade and Agriculture Commission up and responding to the recommendations. I hope we will also recognise in here that the trade deals that we are signing provide a huge opportunity for us to make sure that fine British produce is available around the world. And future membership of organisations like the Comprehensive, Progressive and Trans-Pacific Partnership will see us have access to millions upon millions of people and ensure that our produce will be famed and known around the world. Thank you, Chair.